Well, hello again to all of you very fine and very wonderful people once again across all sides and forms of the information superhighway. My name is Sam and I always welcome you once again to another episode of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for another week we will be delving into the focus of another week of all new releases, trailers and news that you may or may not have known from the last week. So let's not waste too much time in these introductions, let's get to talking all things media that we do have for this week in particular.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Now for the first of the new releases for this week, we'll be back for the summer blockbusters and the return of the superheroes for the first time this season. And a case where last year we saw the first of the films in the reboot of a new cinematic universe that showed the focus of truth, justice and a better tomorrow, well, we'll be staying with this form of a similar family but looking to the more rebellious cousin in terms of her finding herself, as we have the release of the next film for the DC universe with Supergirl. And the film will follow Kara Zor-El, played by Millie Alcock, who decides to travel across the galaxy with her dog Crypto to celebrate her 23rd birthday. On the way, she meets the young Rufy Marie Knoll and encounters a tragedy that will soon lead her to her murderous quest for revenge. The reception's new title has been seen as a bit more of a mixed outcome, with a little modest reception praise given to Alcock's performance as Kara, the visuals, narrative and some elements of heart. The film has been a little mixed response to some of the writing, pacing and the villain feeling a little bit underwhelming, but sure is hope for improvement over time. Plus also, although sexist comments about Millie Alcock is really not necessary, and if you're gonna be like that, don't be a dick. Be respectful, please. Now, in this case, I was thankfully invited to the premiere of this earlier this week, and personally, me and my friend both enjoyed our time with the film. Sure, we can see where the issues pop up, but I still had the enjoyment from it, and we'll find its audience over time in this regards of things. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. Our second film this week will be giving us a sense that in many ways, we would find some strange and appealing form of entertainment from one thing, and that can be watching people injure themselves in the form of entertainment, and laugh with some buddies. In this case, we'll be joining this group of professional idiots for one last go-around of overly elaborate and funny gags, pranks, and stunts, as Johnny Knoxville and co are back for one last ride, as we have the release of Jackass Best and Last. And the film will be a mix of some of the best that the series had to show for some callbacks to classic entries of the franchise, as well as some new additions and stunts, from Steve-O getting a prostate exam from a robot named Larry, someone having a shock collar put on their penis, and some of them dealing with an escape room from hell, all in the purpose of entertainment. The reception of this last entry of the series seems to be very well received, with praise on the stunts, laugh out loud moments, and for some of the classics of the films and TV series being highlighted in this big send-off of the series of lovable idiots. But if you're up for a 90-minute romp of laughs, then you can catch this film also out now in cinemas. On the TV side this week, we hope you're prepared for the first of them, as we are cooking up another form of a very fine, intricate dish of the choice of your palate. As after many courses that have made some delicious or tasty in some degree, it will be time for the final serving, and soon time for the bill, as it's time to return to some culinary cuisine from Chicago for one more serving, as we release of the final season to the Bear. The season will follow on from the events of the fourth season's finale, with Sydney taking over the restaurant the morning after they received the news from Carmi. I'll focus on her ordeal of stepping into the new leadership role, and the focus of Ibrahim discussing on taking the business and making it a franchise. The reception to this final season, similar to the previous four, have been very well received, with praise on its performances, narrative tone, and for being a satisfying ending to a beloved series overall in particular. If you want to order up for one last dish, you can catch the full series out now on Disney+. Our second show for this week will be a bit more of a focus on the massive array of all-out battles, bloodshed, and dragons, and will be the focus once more where the tension and conflict and the fires of the battle will begin to rise more and more to a possible bloody end. So after a 2-year gap since the previous season, we have the release of the third season to the Game of Thrones prequel of House of the Dragon. The new season will follow on from the end of season 2, and we'll see the growing conflict between Rhaena Targaryen and Aegon II Targaryen, as the war and conflict enters a new phase of the growing eternal war. The effects of dragons, armies, and political decisions will soon shape the future of Westeros. The reception of this new season so far seems to be decently well liked, with praise in both the visuals, performances, and set pieces, including the strong opening episode based on the Battle of the Gullet. Though it will be seen if the appeal of the show will continue or if it will fall into the pitfalls of the last season, leading to its upcoming final season at some point in the future. But we can see over time. If you're up for more fantasy, you can catch the first episode now on HBO Max and Sky Atlantic, with a new episode releasing every Sunday night or Monday morning. The last of the TV shows for this week will be another adaptation and focus, and in the case will be joining the array of a project getting the animated anime style to live action approach, but in this case not from Disney, as while one nation has been saved and the other one part of the missing elemental powers has been learned, the journey is far from finished, and from the quest continues to learn and harness them before the world is left in ruins from fire and ash, as we have the release of the second season of the new live action take on Avatar The Last Airbender. The new season will see the follow-on of the bittersweet victory saving the Northern Water Tribe from the invading Fire Nation. We'll see Aang, Katara, and Sokka regroup and set off on a mission to convince the elusive Earth King to aid in their battle against the fearsome Fire Lord of Ozai. The reception on this second season seems to be mixed to modestly received, that while performances, characters, and action set pieces have been seen as praised across most opinions on it, The big critique I see across is the writing feeling overly bloated and too much talking and very little action that drag out some of these episodes of the show, though they see potential has been seen as a slight improvement over the first season. But if you want to check it out for yourself and form your own opinion, catch this full new season out now on Netflix. On the side of games for this week, the first will be bringing back a series that has been dormant from this company for about a decade now, besides the appearance earlier this year in the currently highest grossing film of this year, and for a crossover in another studio's game a few years ago. It will be time once again to get the team ready, suit up, get the mission, and head off in the R-Wings once more, as we have the release of the recently surprised revealed entry of the popular series of Star Fox. Now, seen as the second remake of the original NES SNES game of the version, you will take on the role of Fox McCloud, the leader of the Star Fox team alongside Peppy Hare, Slippy Toad, and Falco Lombardi. I'll take the battle across the vast locations of plans to do so to stop the reign of Andros and from the destruction of the Lilat system, with a new take getting some new features, expansion of levels, and narrative elements too. Now, reception on this new take on the series has been very well received, with praising the high-end visuals, few narrative additions, and gameplay. It shows the case that appeal is still there for the series, even if some have a little bit of an issue with some of the updated looks of the core group. But offer all new Space Adventure and help to create a new entry in the series, then you can play this title out now on Nintendo Switch too. And our last new release will be another big title making a return after a bit of time, but instead of a big franchise per se, it's more in the realm of an indie classic follow-up to a beloved entry from a decade ago, as we time to return to the strange and magical land found inside of the secret room in the school for another round, as we have the release of the 5th chapter in the popular title of Deltarune. Now labeled as the Festival Day chapter, the next part of this series will see Chris, Susie, and Ralsei heading off to explore the Flower Kingdom, a dark world created from Chris's father's Asgard's fire shop. They must prepare to battle or spare those and restore the land and enjoy the more still fun outing before things become a lot more serious from this point forward. The reception of the new chapter seems to be very well received, with praising the visuals, gameplay, writing, and continuing narrative of this series. But if you want to see where the story continues from then on, you can play it now on PS4 and 5, Xbox One Series X and S, Switch 1 and 2, and PC. Now, with all that regards, that's all the releases we have for this week.
Mrs. Obama, get down!
Moving on to the trailers for this week, and the first of the titles will be the first of the adaptations of some novels as well. The case of some elements of artificial intelligence may cause a mix of appeal to some aspects. There is still some that could be a case that were not designed to destroy, but more for a purpose of being a friend for those that need it most. As Taika Waititi is back once again to bring his take on a beloved novel with a trailer for the new film of Clara and the Sun. Now, based on a novel by Kazuo Ishiguro, the film was set in a dystopian future where technological advances have divided humans into strict, isolated social classes. An obsolete companion android friend, or an AF, named Clara, played by Jenna Ortega, tries to bond with Josie, played by Mia Faria, a sick girl for whom she is purchased for to help in being a friend for. It's always interesting to see the concept that could be a case in the age of advancing technology and how they can go about the focus of these characters. For what I have heard with this novel is that it has an appeal of being a bit of a wholesome, feel-good narrative that's something worth a watch. Ortega as a main android seems like an interesting approach, but from the look of the character from the book, I feel it could be something worthwhile. It's always odd kind of seeing Ortega playing a character that smiles a lot. She's often associated with moody-based characters, but I'm sure it could be worth checking out and powering up to see where it all comes about when released in the cinemas from the 23rd of October. Our next trailer this week will be over to the side of the animation scene for the next few titles. In the case of this important one, the importance of memories and magic will be well worth saving the day, and through the power of friendship across the years will be well worth to try and save memories to stay intact, as we're heading over to DreamWorks as we have the release of their second trailer for their upcoming new title of Forgotten Island. And the film is set in the 90s in the Philippines, where childhood friends Joe and Raizia promise to remain close forever. As they graduate from high school, Raizia prepares to move to the US at the urging of her parents. Fearing the loss of their bond, Joe tries to persuade her to stay, but suddenly they are transported to a portal to the fantastical world of the Forgotten Island of Nakali, where memories fade the longer one remains. As been seen, the animation industry has been in some ways been seeing some effort into blending styles and appeal that started with Sony, and this studio, and now some others like Pixar, have also made some attempt with upcoming projects. And I can see with this one, the focus of flashy animation and style will be well worth checking out. While the first trailer had me wanting to know more, this one gave us a better idea of what is on the way. From what I've heard from one part of the news discussion this week, that they recently screened and earned a 5-minute standing ovation. So it sounds like DreamWorks has another banger on their hands, similar to the likes of Wild Robot, Bad Guys, and Puss in Boots' Last Wish. Now I'm excited to check out some more new animation, but I guess we will see what the adventure is all about when it's unleashed into cinemas from the 16th of October. Moving to TV animation, the focus of the next title will be a case that we have seen them take on the ordeal and focus the usual everyday life in the past, but now will be the focus of what will be the biggest hurdle they have to face. That is with retirement and family growing up. Well, that will be the focus as we head back down to Texas, as we have the release of the second season of the updated revival series of King of the Hill. In a new season, we'll see Hank and Peggy settle into retirement life on Rainy Street while they attempt to keep their neighbors from going off the rails. Meanwhile, Bobby tries to manage old friendships while dealing with the stresses of being an entrepreneur. The likes of many of them classic shows coming back after all these years have their appeals in many forms. They've seen the likes of Futurama, Gumball, Regular Show, and now with this, it seems like there's an appeal to them to come back fresh with some new concepts and ideas after a few years away. And it seems like if you go to approach like that first season of the revival took, I'm sure it could have some appeal to continue to further on for down the line with more new adventures, from what I can see, and it has some appeal to watch. I need to get around to actually watching the full series myself on that particular instance, but I'm sure we'll see what will come of this new misadventures in due time, with a new season dropping on Hulu and Disney Plus in just under a month's time on July 20th. The next trailer will be back to the realm of superheroes with this upcoming project, and while the case will be seeing a focus of the Kryptonian family for the big release this week, we will be taking focus to a more of the gritty and gothic focus in the title, as when the city's in peril, will take one symbol of vengeance and of the night to prove that he has what it takes to be the symbol that strikes fear in the hearts of criminals of his city. After 2-year gaps in the first season, we finally have gotten the trailer for the upcoming second season to Batman Caped Crusader. The series will continue on from the events of the first season in the more gothic underbelly of the neo-noir period, as we follow Bruce Wayne in his early days as the Caped Crusader, as one-man war against crime and some more powerful adversaries, like including the Riddler, the Penguin, and the Joker. So I remember watching an episode or two of the original season when it came out, and I saw its potential, and it had some appealing animation mixed in there as well. It wasn't the most fully structured, it still had its appeal, and I'm sure that the time away could help improve upon the first season with more from the classic episodes of the original animated series in focus and pulling from those ideals. And I feel it could work out more and more, and I can give it a proper look in the series myself in due time, and thankfully, in this case instance, the next season is not too far away from release either. Its new season will be gliding its way onto Amazon Prime from the 31st of July. The last of the trailers for this week will be giving us a deep dive back into the world of weird and wonderful realms of multiverses, drunk science, and other means of intergalactic chaos. But where we will have been following the misadventures of the universe's smartest man as prepubescent nephew, this time we'll be focusing on the ordeal heading straight to the highest office in the States, as we have the release of the trailer for the upcoming new spin-off based on the world of Rick and Morty with President Curtis. The new series will follow the Commander-in-Chief, that's voiced by Keith David, as the eccentric staffs tackle the kind of crisis that Rick Sanchez could not be bothered with, from interdimensional diplomacy to paranormal investigations and unexplained phenomena. It was bound to be a point in time before the concept of a spin-off to this universe of stories and characters would have been made in some form. Seeing that you would expect something like Rick's early adventures with Bird Person or something, but similar would be the first, but with the focus of the present, I also feel works given that he's had a presence across the series in a few memorable episodes, so the ideas of him tackling some of these interdimensional stuff would be well worth checking out in due course. And who can say no to more to Keith David, honestly, come on. And it seems like there could be some entertainment from this entry, and I feel it could be worth checking out, and thankfully, it's not too long away from release either, as the title will be released onto Adult Swim and HBO Max on the 26th of July. With all that regards now, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
Ladies, get busy! We're gonna be laying some eggs tonight!
So we have the focus of two different stories this week, and on the first one that we'll be giving a focus to is the realm of one side of film and TV I still enjoy to this day, and that is with the focus of animation. As it will be time this year once again that we'll be delving into some of the announcements and focus of all things we've given at this year's Annecy Festival. Something I already mentioned in the trailer with them showing the film of Forgotten Island and stuff with that. And it will be a case I'll be looking into some big announcements from the events of both film and TV that I can. So let's see what they had shown this week at the big event itself. So I will start off on the studios that don't really have too much to unveil, and we'll start with the streamer of Netflix and Skydance, as they are teaming up for an all-new, somewhat mature-based passion project that's with the focus of the all-new noir-based film of Raygun that is being made by Brad Bird. And while we have yet to get a proper trailer for this, they did show off some first-look images of the title, and also the confirmation that the film now has a set release date, the title dropping on the streamer on the 18th of December this year. Now I know it was reported that he initially had a plan for Pixar, but it felt like it needed a little more edge, and if anything I understand the approach of that. If anything, I hope we get to see a limited sim release for this, because I want to see this on the big screen, but I know we'll be looking forward to this close to the holiday season in particular. And the other piece of Netflix that we haven't looked besides some brief discussion on Charlie vs. the Chocolate Factory, they also gave us the first look images at recently announced Ghostbusters Night Shift series. They gave us the first look at one of the supernatural creatures these proton pack protectors will be up against, and it seems from the studio that there's a lot of appeal and some positive buzz across these three titles that Netflix has to show. I'm to see them in motion. I'm all for checking them out over the next year or so when they do release. Another studio that didn't really have much in focus to discuss about with Annecy was with Paramount, as while they have the joint venture with Netflix for Raygun and some of those other trailers, they did give audiences a proper first look at their upcoming title also out this Christmas, and that's with the third Angry Birds movie that is giving us a more proper look at Red and Silver's kids, and show that Red's biggest challenge yet is to being a father to this flock, with some assistance by Bomb and Chuck too. I thought for a bit they were get a trailer of them this week, but I'm sure we'll probably follow on very quick after release or something, but I hope they'll have an appeal and be a surprisingly entertaining entry like the previous title, like a super release of the week of Christmas. For another animation studio that didn't really have much was with Disney and Pixar. As while they showed some more new looks at Hexed and Gatto, we did get some new additions unveiled that on the side of Disney, it looks like we'll be returning to a popular franchise, and in the animated form as well, as it looks like they announced an all new Lilo and Stitch based short known as Lilo and Scratch that will see the blue alien be faced with their match as chaos in this small cat-like creature, and it seems they will be giving us a return to the 2D animation of the original films as well. The only major difference will be with the voice of Lilo that will be provided by the actress that played her in the live-action film. I do hope this show will be dedicated to the original voice actress who tragically passed away just very recently, but I'm sure we'll see more by this come release in the front of screenings for the upcoming film of Hexed. Then the other focus of the return to another beloved franchise on the side of Pixar, and one I made mention a few weeks ago, was we got new information about the new Finding Nemo short that is now in the works, and the short confirmed as titled as Loving Dory, which will follow that forgetful blue tangfish. She mistakes and falls in love with a plastic bag that she mistakes as a sort of jellyfish. And since it could be something funny and some kind of sweet story in there as well. With the original film's cast coming back for this, it could be appealing the form. From the image unveiled, I'm unsure if this will be in the classic CG animation or if it will go off this first look image sort of an illustrated style, but I'm interested to see this more or less in the future, and I'm wondering if it'll be released in front of Gatto or something, or if it's on its own terms, but I guess we can see down the line in that particular instance. While on this side of Illumination, they have been rolling in the box of success of the Galaxy movie, and set to make another more bank with the new Minions film out next week, they did at least reveal one new project in their next film to follow Minions and Monsters with the new title of Not Alone. They will follow a rocket mechanic voiced by Timothée Chalamet and an astrobotanist voiced by Selena Gomez as they help prepare for a revolutionary rocket launch while also seeing sparks fly between each other, and in the process deal with 3 runaway aliens taking refuge in his home and looking to use the rocket as a means to escape. It seems like an interesting approach to it, and while Illumination titles can be a little mixed in some projects, I will give them a chance at likes of this title of a rom-com sounding approach. I'm sure we'll get a proper look at the title by release in the spring of next year. Now, as I mentioned in the case of instance, the other studios didn't really have much to focus on, like with DreamWorks only focused on Forgotten Island, and in the case of like Amazon primarily focused besides on Cape Crusader mostly on their shows like Invincible, Hazbin Hotel, Hello Boss, Mighty Nine, the Ghost in the Shell adaptations. We focused on the biggest headlines of one studio that went all in this year. Surprisingly, this was with Warner Brothers, as they went all in the focus of some overlooked Warner Animation Group, the division that gave us the likes of the Lego movies, Storks, and Space Jam too, as they gave an idea of the first of what to expect over the next 3 years, with their remaining one for this year being with the Cat in the Hat adaptation in November, then a duo of tales next year with Bad Fairies and Margie Claus, titles I mentioned back at CinemaCon, as well as the case then confirming 4 titles for 2028, which includes another Dr. Seuss adaptation of All the Places You'll Go, the long in development DC title of Dynamic Duo, the animated Hello Kitty film, which also got some first look images of Power Up here, and a planned adaptation of the Lunar Chronicles, which are a series of books of some reworked fairy tales with a steampunk aesthetic that sounds actually pretty cool from what I read about it. The selection so far does sound pretty good, and it's not the only projects of films and TV left to discuss, as there's a few more in mind to discuss in this particular instance. There was one other new IP announced with all of these films, not the last of the films yet, and it seems to be coming to us from an animator who has been making a name for herself with success on the streaming side of things. As announced at WAG that we'll be working with Hazbin Hotel creator Visipop, an all new full-length feature film based on the concept of Prehistoria, described as a fossil fantasy musical adventure. It could be an entertaining outcome, as someone that enjoys Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss myself. I know there'll be some that will complain of her making a film like this and worry on the dialogue from the writing, but I'm sure it'll be worth checking out from the art style and concept as it develops. And nothing has been set in stone when we can see it, but I would say once the likes of Hazbin has completed itself, we'll get a chance, but I look forward to seeing what comes with this project. And then on the last of the animated films unveiled that we know of, we'll be going back to some classic series for the era of Hanna-Barbera and early 2000s WB, as 2 classic IPs will be getting the big screen treatment, as it was confirmed that both Powerpuff Girls and a Thundercats film are both in the works. Now, the likes of making both of them does sound very appealing, with this being the second full-length film for those creations of Sugar, Spice, and Everything Nice, and the first time for those Mighty Warriors getting the big screen treatment, after nearly 2 decades of them trying to get a full-length film made for those heroes. Now, the real question I have will be, will this connect in some form to one of those specific series, as both of these titles have had recent revival shows in the mid-2010s, both having mixed outcomes. The Powerpuff was decent but lacked appeal of the original, and the Thundercats one was being loathed by the animation and Teen Titans Go-ification of the series. Or I pray not that the initial planned attempt at that live-action Powerpuff series, the CW, because that was rough and I don't want to see that for that Powerpuff movie. But I'm sure we'll get more of an idea of things down the line. Now either way, I'm interested to see what comes with these films, but I'm sure we'll see about this at least in the future. Our last of the major focus that will given us will be some projects and shows in the realm of the superheroes, and while we have talked on Cape Crusader, there was an announcement of 3 other new animated anime-based projects on the way, with the first announcement being Joker Live Riot. They'll be set in the anime-based announcement, and I have to wonder if it will be based on the previous Joker iterations like the ones from Suicide Squad Isekai or the Harley Quinn series. The other was a new series focused on the faithful Kanan and Crypto, and that could be based on the works of My Adventure with Superman, but hard to say right now. And the final big announcement was the unveiling of a new animated series or film adaptation based on the currently ongoing and very popular comic run of Absolute Batman, which will be quite something to see and check out when it does. And I have been looking into those titles and I think they're pretty rad. Now we'll go all in the concept of this, but I'm sure will be worth checking out, and I'm sure I'll find appeal in different demographics and genres for many people, as they all sound like they could be quite interesting. But that's all I can really say in covering Annecy this year, and they have a variety of interesting projects unveiled at this event, and while I know there's a few more that the studio could have shown off, I think the selection as well as some full unveilings like the premiere of Forgotten Island Minions of Monsters was nice to hear. I'm sure of all these projects will be something to look forward to in the future, as it does seem that the concept and future of animation still looks quite bright. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on these announcements of this year's event, and what are you most excited for that was shown off this year? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Now we move away from the focus of the realm of animation, and we now give a focus to the elements of the usual weekly serving of a hodgepodge of stories to look through and find across the different studios, from project announcements, release dates, and even the discussion of a recent item that has a bit of a mixed outcome to it all. But let's delve into it and see what will come with this week's content and focus. So we'll start with the one specific release date that we do have this week, and it's in the focus of things getting a bit more spooky and scary, and a title that has had some unforeseen consequences, with the only remnants of what happened are found from the tapes of the cameras found in the woods. As on Tuesday this week, we were given the official release date for the upcoming new take on the Blair Witch Project, with this title set for release on September 24th next year. Now while it's been labeled as a reboot of the franchise, I do have to wonder if this will connect in any sort of previous titles, the original, the often overwhelming sequel, the 2016 reboot, or even the recent video game adaptation based on the series, because I have not heard much on this project in particular besides it being produced by Blumhouse. If anything, I hope for this title is that we will make the effort to make it more akin to the unselling word of mouth and marketing campaign of the original film, but I guess we'll find out due time and get an idea of what we'll be waiting for in those woods by its release next September. But speaking of Blumhouse, there is one other news in relation to another piece of their projects, and it's the focus of one of their more mixed bag but more profitable series. Has been some news in relation to a possible third film in the Five Nights at Freddy's series. Now the likes of the project has been seemingly known for a while now, as Afton himself of Matthew Lillard mentioned that about a free film deal, and going off the games, this third entry may be a lot more in the focus of him than we know, and it seems to be a case that in this regards they want to make it a bit more of a proper form of writing in many ways, and it seems they may have hired some professional help for this third entry, as reported that David Robert Mitchell, the writer behind the It films of recent memory and It Follows, has apparently been hired to pen the script for this upcoming title. Now I feel in this case there will be help increase a bit more of the unsettling nature and the tones of the series, as the previous two titles have been mostly the writings of the original creator of Scott Cawthon, and while we can see his elements of lore there, some aspects of dialogue and other means are not the most structured, so getting some professional assistance in this film could be a beneficial outcome. Now in this case I do like the previous two entries, but I can appreciate an update on the script in a solid form that still keeps the appeal of the franchise in there as well. Now for the moment it is still a sense of speculation on this, and nothing has been made official besides one of the actors possibly confirming this, but if there's anything new about this I'll provide that later episode as well. The next project in focus is one that will bring us quite the experience full of education, fun, and a whole lot of magic, and jumping from one genre to another as it will be time to hop on and buckle your seatbelts, as it announced this week that Legendary Pictures is moving forward with a live-action film adaptation of the classic animated series of The Magic School Bus, which also confirmed that they have found their Miss Frizzle in the casting of Elizabeth Banks, and the project will be helmed by Rob Letterman, the director of Detective Pikachu. Now I've seen the odd clip or two of the original series, and I'm aware that they did release a new updated series a couple of years back with the passing of the torch to Frizzle's younger sister that's voiced by Kate McKinnon. It seemed they both had their appeal in certain audiences, and I can hope in this case if there's anything, something with a sense of education, fun, adventure could be well worth it in this day and age, so I'll keep an eye on this project down the line. Now currently there is no planned release for this title as of yet, but like always, once I hear anything about this, series. I'll provide that in a later episode. The last of the project announcements for this week will be taking us back over to the discussion of the likes of video game adaptations, as there's some news that'll have come out in the blue and will be saying the focus of another form of adventure is on the horizon. It'll soon be time to set sail. As announced this week, the live action film based on the popular multiplayer Rareware title of Sea of Thieves is in the works, and seems they have found a director in mind with the project before to be helmed by Shang-Chi and Wonder Man director Destin Daniel Cretton. Now, it does have to be said that the film focus on pirates has been noticeably absent across the last few years, bar the rumblings of return to the Pirates of the Caribbean series that keeps popping up every couple now and again. But the likes of adapting this title could have its benefits, especially in the case the title has been ongoing, getting constant content updates since its release in 2018. So I'm sure there's plenty of elements to pull from, as well as finding an original narrative amongst the treasure, and in this case, Cretton has proven himself so far from what I've seen with his project, so I'll give it a chance to see what he will do with this. Now currently it's all early days, and I'm sure we'll get an idea of anything in due time, but once the news comes about this, I'll let you know in a later episode. The last bit of news I want to talk about is with a title that has been long and waiting for release, and many wondering when we can start the purchase of this entry was going to happen, and to many, that day has finally come, albeit with some issues that I'll get to focus on now in a minute. As on Thursday this week, the pre-orders for the long-awaited Grand Theft Auto 6 finally went live, with the title given an official price and two different editions to choose from, with a standard edition coming in around £70 and $80 or euros, and Ultimate Edition coming in around about £20 dollars or euros difference, as both set in stone for release on November 19th in this regards. Now you may be wondering, what is my issue with this, as I was excited to play this? Well, a big issue to me and to a fair amount of players is the approach that Rockstar has decided on, and that is the case that the physical editions of these versions will for some reason not have a disc in it, and will all be a form of a code in the box. Now a code in the box I can get used to if the title was more of a game that released years ago and was some lot more cheaper, the approach that the Switch does with their certain titles after being out for years, and paying €80 for a box with a letter in it but nothing in it is really dumb, especially in an era where so many have wanted to keep physical media alive. As is the case currently ongoing Stop Killing Games movement that has a focus on the digital tiles or services being kept alive and just being like a licensing and not really owning stuff. Now I see the issue of these codes could be that some could find ways to duplicate the codes and sell you ones that don't work, or they were already redeemed, or the case the code could not work at all, which in this case with a disc you would avoid a hassle. As to be printed on multiple discs, install it, then so be it. It worked with Red Dead Redemption 2. Now there are some rumblings that a physical disc will be added down the line, but reports on this are currently unclear. It may have been misinterpreted by an email by Rockstar support, but I guess we can see down the line. Another issue that has popped up at this has come from certain elements like story missions, buildings, and other elements will be unavailable to standard players unless they buy the Ultimate Edition to obtain them, which seems to be from some clothing stores, barber and hair salons, tattoo parlor, and even some places for custom vehicles, which to me and some others sounds really scummy to do, and demanding an extra amount just for some of these locations when it took them that long to make this game, and it should all be available to all, no matter the edition you play. Now I have to say, after this unveiling the day before the pre-orders going live, my opinions are very mixed. As while I want to play the game, some of the pre-orders, the outcome feels very unpleasant. I hope in some form that Rockstar could fix this before the launch of the game, so we can all be happy and not be shown the focus of greedy tactics that they worry like it's not going to make over $1 billion in a day, because I'm pretty sure from the pre-orders they already have, and just hope they can fix and appeal to it all. But I guess we can see as the time goes on by its mid-November release, but let's hope we get physical discs and not all this stuff is locked behind an Ultimate Edition. But what do you think of all these stories? We'll be seeing the new Blair Witch film, and what do you connect to any previous title? Do you think Mitchell will be running a FNAF free, and do you think it will be good? Do you think a live action Magic School Bus could work? What do you hope to see from a Sea of Thieves film, and do you think Rockstar will listen and fix the issues of their audiences, or do you think the more uncertain and worrying elements of the title will start to come beyond these early issues? Let me know what you think of all these down below. We can discuss about them there. With all that regards, that's all the news stories that we do have this week.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
And now in case with all that ends episode 162 of Weird Mind Newsroom. Hope you enjoyed my ramblings for probably over half an hour at this point. Anyway, I'm going to try and fly through this conclusion because it is quite late. Anyways, reviews wise, I'm going to try and find a point in time this week to actually get onto writing some more reviews. Going to finish the Last of Us one, get onto the Digital Circus one, maybe Has Been as well, and I could add a few more additions to the stories. I've already mentioned I saw Supergirl, I saw Disclosure Day last week, and a case also just as of writing this is as of finishing recording this, a few 2 hours ago or a day or two ago, I saw Toy Story, and I got emotional watching it as well, because I still think it's a pretty solid series, and they still make good films in that regards of things. So I'll get around to those in due time, as well as some more snack-sized box office ones, as well as some different variations of genres, lengths, and different styles. So look forward to those in due time. And if you want to become part of some of these reviews, you can let me know, and we can get your opinions on them as well. In the case of gameplay stuff, I'm going to try and upload more VODs. I think by the time I've recorded this episode, the first entry part of the Tomodachi live stream should be up now, in regards to things. So you can catch that one there. A few more to upload if I can, so look forward to those. There's a case of like DK Bonanza, Star Wars Outlaws, Cyberpunk 2077, Mario Wonder. There's a case of new games like Ventilate, Resident Evils, Metal Gear Solids, Atomic Hearts, and all these other ones will be coming along eventually. So look forward to those in due time. I'll get around to those in a particular instance, and let me know what you want me to play down below. I kind of consider want to get ready or not or something like that, but I'll have a look into it. And in the case of long form stuff in regards to things, Hormo's Board is still going to come along. The AI and Twitch video is still happening. The rewatchathon is still happening. The other long form stuff is coming. The time-lapse build is currently on the way, at the halfway of it edited now. It's gonna do the other half and then just get some music and stuff, and that should be hopefully be up by the end of this week, but we'll see. As well, case some other stuff like other variations of long form videos coming out, so look forward to those in particular instance. But then this now, I'm gonna wrap up the episode for now. So if you like what you see here, want to see more from me and more frequently, simply like and subscribe. I upload new stuff every single week, and let's hope if I can try and reach 1,000 subs, but 750 to 1,000 subs by the end this year, I would greatly appreciate in this regards of things. And I'll get back to more videos that will at least appeal more than this weekly stuff that I know is case is probably tedious in regards of things. But I appreciate all those that still stick around to watch my stuff. Or if you're new here, hi, welcome in. You're always welcome here. Let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week down below from the new releases, trailers, and news stories in the comments down section, and we'll have a welcoming and wholesome discussion about this. You know, if you like something, you didn't like something, that's totally fine as well. Just once you're not overly aggressive in that regards of things. If you want to get yourself 10% off pure crack, use my code Sam Harrison. That's all one word, all caps, no spaces, and you can get that link in the description below. But in this regards of things, I'll leave it there for now. So as always, you will stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day. Do many great things, and keeping you because no one else do what you do, and take care of yourself because mental health is very important. Now, I've been your host Sam, of course. I'm gonna go to bed now, and I'll see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you later.